Fleet Admiral Kexavar of the Dominion Imperial Navy had conquered 47 star systems without a single defeat. His flagship, the Eternal Dominance, was a masterpiece of Imperial engineering, 3 kilometers of reinforced neutronium hull, equipped with reality-searing plasma cannons, and protected by overlapping quantum shield matrices that had never been breached. Today, as he prepared to claim his 48th victory, he felt the familiar satisfaction of inevitable triumph. The target was a small human colony on the rim world of New Geneva, barely 2 million inhabitants, defended by what Imperial Intelligence described as primitive orbital platforms and a handful of outdated patrol ships. The humans had been expanding into Dominion space for the past decade, apparently oblivious to the fact that they were trespassing on territory claimed by a civilization that had ruled this sector for 3 millennia. Admiral reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Zorthak, "We are approaching the target system. The human colony appears to be transmitting surrender offers." Kexavar's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Ignore their transmissions. Deploy the fleet in standard bombardment formation. We shall make an example of this world that will discourage further human expansion." The Dominion fleet, 60 capital ships strong, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the New Geneva system like a wall of death. Each vessel bristled with enough firepower to sterilize continents, their hulls gleaming with the distinctive crimson paint that marked the Emperor's personal armada. This would be a slaughter, not a battle. "Sir," Zorthak's voice carried a note of confusion. "I'm detecting an anomaly. There appears to be some kind of disturbance in local space-time, approximately 50,000 kilometers off our starboard flank." "Clarify," Kexavar ordered, though he wasn't particularly concerned. Human technology was notoriously unreliable, probably just some malfunctioning industrial equipment causing sensor interference. "It's difficult to describe, Admiral. The readings suggest a localized compression of 11-dimensional space, but that should be impossible without exotic matter generators the size of a moon." Before Kexavar could respond, space itself seemed to tear open like fabric, revealing a perfectly circular void that hurt to look at directly. The distortion expanded rapidly, and from within that impossible darkness, something emerged. At first glance, it looked almost small compared to the massive Dominion dreadnoughts, perhaps 800 meters long, with a sleek organic curve to its hull that spoke of design philosophies completely alien to Imperial engineering. But as the ship fully materialized, Kexavar's experienced eye caught details that made his blood run cold. The vessel wasn't reflecting light properly. Its surface seemed to absorb electromagnetic radiation across the entire spectrum, creating an effect that made it appear to exist in a deeper darkness than the vacuum around it. More disturbing were the energy readings. His sensors couldn't get a stable lock on the ship's power signature because it seemed to be fluctuating between dimensions. "Admiral," his communications officer stammered, "we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel. It's identifying itself as the TFS Shadowcaster, Terra Defense Force." "Impossible," Kexavar snarled. "Imperial Intelligence confirms that humans possess no ships larger than frigate class. This must be some kind of captured alien vessel." The main screen activated, revealing a human female in what appeared to be a simple black uniform. She was young by human standards, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to hold depths of knowledge that shouldn't exist in such a primitive species. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Defense Force vessel Shadowcaster," she said, her voice carrying an unsettling calm. "You are Admiral Kexavar of the Dominion Fleet, here to commit genocide against 2 million civilians. I'm afraid I cannot allow that." Kexavar's laugh was harsh and dismissive. "Child, you pilot a single ship against 60 of the most advanced warships in this galaxy. Your courage is admirable but futile. Withdraw now and I may allow you to live to witness our victory." Captain Vasquez tilted her head slightly, as if considering his words. "Admiral, may I ask you something? In all your conquests, have you ever encountered anything that your sensors couldn't properly analyze? What relevance does that? Because right now," she continued, "your computers are trying to calculate my ship's mass, and they're getting results that violate several fundamental laws of physics. Would you like to know why?" Kexavar glanced at his tactical display. She was right. The readings were nonsensical. The ship registered as having negative mass in some dimensions, while showing gravitational effects consistent with something the size of a small planet. "The Shadowcaster," Vasquez explained, "isn't actually located in normal spacetime. What you're seeing is a three-dimensional projection of a vessel that exists primarily in folded dimensions. We learned this technique from studying the remains of a civilization that existed here about 40 million years ago, long before your empire or any current galactic power. Dimensional manipulation is theoretical at best," Kexavar protested, though doubt was beginning to creep into his voice. "The energy requirements alone would exceed the output of a star, yes, if you were trying to affect normal space. But if you're working with pocket dimensions that exist parallel to reality, the energy costs drop to manageable levels. We've been perfecting this technology for the past 15 years. As if to demonstrate, the Shadowcaster suddenly seemed to stretch and compress, its hull rippling like liquid while maintaining perfect structural integrity. For a moment, it appeared to exist in several locations simultaneously before snapping back to a single position. "Admiral," Zorthak's voice was tight with fear. The human vessel just occupied 17 different spatial coordinates at once. Our targeting computers cannot achieve weapons lock. Furthermore, Captain Vasquez continued dimensional folding allows for some interesting tactical applications. For instance, the space around 3 of Kexavar's destroyers suddenly inverted. The ships found themselves existing in a localized area where up and down had reversed, where their own gravity pulled them apart instead of holding them together. Within seconds, 3 of the Dominion's finest warships crumpled like paper, their crews experiencing forces that their bodies were never designed to withstand. "Stop," Kexavar commanded. "This is impossible. No single ship can possess such power." "You're thinking in 3 dimensions, Admiral," Vasquez replied patiently. "When you can access 11-dimensional space, concepts like single ship become rather limiting. The Shadowcaster is simultaneously one vessel and an entire fleet, depending on which dimensional perspective you're viewing from." Around the flagship, space began to ripple as more distortions appeared. Each ripple revealed another glimpse of the Shadowcaster, or perhaps different aspects of the same ship existing across multiple dimensional planes. The Dominion fleet found itself surrounded by what appeared to be dozens of identical vessels, each one as impossible as the first. "Your choice is simple," Vasquez stated. "Withdraw from this system immediately, or I will demonstrate what happens when 11-dimensional space is folded around normal matter. I should warn you, the result is not pleasant to observe, and completely irreversible." Kexavar stared at his tactical display, watching as his 60 ships vessels that had conquered nearly 50 worlds sat helpless before a single human craft that operated on principles his civilization had never even theorized. The beings he had dismissed as primitive colonists had apparently mastered technologies that made his empire's greatest achievements look like stone tools. "Fleet," he ordered, his voice hollow with defeat, "set course for home. Maximum speed." As the Dominion Armada fled the system, Captain Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. Behind her, the colonists of New Geneva continued their peaceful lives, unaware of how close they had come to annihilation, or how dramatically the balance of galactic power had just shifted. The age of imperial dominance was ending, and humanity had only just begun to reveal its true capabilities.